Hi everybody, this is Shane R. Monroe and welcome back to another edition of Shane Shed Mystery Loot Box Edition. I've got another box from inside my world famous shed, stored with tons of games, gizmos, gadgets, electronics, useless stuff. I spent the last 15 to 20 years of my life gathering up junk from all over the place, and we're going to dive these boxes together. So if this is your first one, we're going to tell some stories, talk about what I find. If this is not your first one, well, welcome back, and we're happy you came back to dive another box with us. So without further ado, let's dive the box. First up, a pouch. This is a 3DS pouch. So this is designed to house and store Nintendo 3DS and games and accessories. This is kind of nice. I don't remember picking this one up. What do you think? It's kind of nice, right?
It looks like a lunchbox.
It does look like a little lunchbox, except for it's got cool stuff in it. This looks like another case of some sort.
Ooh, I like it.
Oh, what's this? The battery cover to something, but here's a nice metal stylus. This is one of the nicer ones. Nice and metal.
So you just have a container.
So I have yet another.
Oh, it's a 3DS? Yeah.
Is it 3DS?
Yeah, look in the back. There's cartridge containers.
There could be a DS one, too. I don't know. Anyway, yet another one. I got tons of these, and obviously. So what's this? Your basic switch box. Look at this. Still has some labels. VCR. How great is this? How old is this? VCR, DVD, Dreamcast, PlayStation 1. And, of course, all the standard.
All the plugs.
All the plugs for each one of them. Old school. Radio Shack. That's how old this goes back. Here's a disc. ColecoVision Hits Volume 1. So this is from Telegames. 30 classic arcade games for Windows 95, nonetheless.
Windows 95?
Yeah, this was the precursor here. Everything looks very nice. And there's the back if you want to see what's on the collection. Looks like all the basic stuff is in there that you'd want to play. Pretty cool. So, arcade collection. What do we have here? So this is from X Arcade. X Arcade makes still makes arcade quality control panels that you can hook up to your PC and play arcade emulated games using real arcade hardware. And this looks like a bundled disc that comes with Gauntlet, Rampage, Robotron, Joust, Defender, and Smash TV. Kind of a nice little pack-in. It's a Midway Games bundle. Too shabby. What's this disc? Look at this. So ages ago, Netflix used to loan out DVDs. I think they still do. But this is for the Nintendo Wii. This is the Netflix, basically a boot disc. So you could use this. You could use this Netflix disc to put it inside your Nintendo Wii, and it would let you connect to the Netflix service and watch your Netflix. Very cool. Do not return to Netflix. That's cool. I didn't even know I had one of those still. This another case?
Ooh.
This is pretty cool, though.
Case?
Oh, this is the Deal or No Deal case. I remember this. So, of course, you know, Howie Mandel runs the show Deal or No Deal. Great. And you see the back of that there. So this is sealed still. This is from Zoo. It was actually a pretty decent game.
Yeah.
And this is a special edition Deal or No Deal case, right? Because that was the whole point of the game, is you'd pick so many cases and then they'd open each one and tell you what was in it. Well, this is the Deal or No Deal sort of special edition.
What
case.
number is it?
Oh, I don't know how. That means it's not that special.
Case number blank.
It's dusty though.
Yeah.
Tron Legacy. Oh, this is cool. Sam Flynn and Tron Arcade. So check this out. This is from the movie Tron Legacy. It was a Target original. And this is Sam Flynn, which is the son of our... Careful, it's very crunchy.
I know, but light.
Oh, here, well, let's do it this way. Maybe from the angle. Does that work better?
Yeah.
So here you see him basically sort of doing this jump swoop, and he's jumping inside this little replica of a Tron machine, a Tron arcade machine. It's really cool. Seen some better days that things starting to come apart, but
Disney.
Very cool. There's the back, so you can see some of the other Tron Legacy items that were available. Pretty cool. I wasn't a huge fan of Tron Legacy. I thought it kind of took away too much from the original, but
the arcade cabinet.
But that's probably why I got it, was this. Oh, my fellow Dreamcast people know exactly what this is. This is a Samba de Amigo. What do they call these things? Maracas. right? So you put your, or is this for the Wii?
No,
this
it's
is
not.
For the Wii,
That's not a
The
Wii.
nunchuck goes here. So this is a, this is a Nintendo. Why does it have a lock and an unlock?
In case you want to unhinge it. If you don't want the maraca, but you just want a key.
So why would you? Whatever. That's very, very strange. I'm sure there's not another one in there.
Oh, I hope there is.
What's this? Dishonored Tarot Deck.
Dishonored?
It's a game franchise. This looks like some sort of a swag thing for the game Dishonored, maybe? It's not sealed. Let's open it. There's instructions in there. What's this? So these are like a tarot card deck. Do you recognize any of these? I'm not familiar with...
I'm not familiar with Dishonored.
I don't know. It's kind of cool looking, though.
Yeah.
There's not too many... I don't know. That's interesting. I have no clue really what this is.
It's probably like a card game.
Well, let's see. Hang on. There's something in here. Unfold like 17 layers. Okay. The Game of Nancy is a tarot card played with characters in the world of Dishonored. Okay. Should be played with the Dishonored tarot deck. However, it's also played with the 78 card tarot decks found in various countries in Europe. How sophisticated. That's cool. We've got a deck of tarot cards in the shed.
Yay.
Never know when you need to break these out for an tarot emergency.
You never know.
Hey, it's not much else to do during the Corona shutdown, huh? We got here. Oh, hey, there we go. Here's some other cool stuff. This is a Sega Dreamcast mouse. So it's already open. So Dreamcast was a sort of a short-run console, had great games. It was pretty well ahead of its time. And they released modems and mice, obviously, for it. I don't know if I've ever actually looked in this. This looks like, wow. This is cool. Take a look. This is neat. It looks like pretty much a standard mouse. Got a button on the side, but it does have the cool Dreamcast logo on it, and it is a first-party product, so... Yeah. I don't remember any games in particular making use of said mouse.
Maybe it just makes it easier.
Let's see. Maybe it says something on the back. Let's see. Hang on. Let me stuff this back in there. Supports Quake 3 Arena. So Quake 3 Arena. Q2 or Q3A rather was the game that it was mostly used for. Although I bet had Half-Life ever come out, you could have used it on that too. Here's a Nintendo DS Lite Stylus set. We did a lot of Stylus collections back in the day, so this was your standard sort of thing. But this is cool. This is a thumb shield, so a lot of people don't know what this is. This is a thumb shield, and you were to put it around the crook of your thumb, like this picture shows here. And is there a good picture on the back? Yeah, here you go. So you put it on your thumb, and then you rest your thumb against the touch screen on the bottom, and that allows you to control, to kind of do turns of the head or whatever. Kind of neat. Yeah, that's probably why I bought it, was because of the thumb shield. Just never opened it.
Oh, what's that?
Xbox 360. This is an HD DVD player. We'll be talking a lot more about HD DVD in a future segment. This is an external drive that you could purchase for your Xbox 360 that would allow you to play a high-definition format known as HD DVD. And for those of you who were not present during that time or weren't old enough to really appreciate it, there was a format war going on between HD DVD and Blu-ray. Since you've never heard of this and you've heard of Blu-ray, you could probably guess who won. It wasn't HD DVD. So while they both had their pluses and minuses, the format that won is HD or as Blu-ray. So in here we have basic stuff. What'd I say? Two-prong plugs rule the world, right? There you go. So power adapter. Hey, look at this. See, look at this. This came with a really nice remote. Look at this. We're going to open this. So this came with a very nice media remote. Look at that. To play your movies and stuff on. It's kind of neat. Some batteries included. Energizers, not those weird GP International ones. It's like a disc with basic installation stuff. Of course, the drive itself is in here. This is going to come out. Ah, it's a beast. Look at that thing. It's almost as big as the Xbox. A couple USB ports on the back, an I/O, power, and of course, you know, the front of the thing, the eject button. So this is my backup. I actually bought 2 of them because I actually backed the HD DVD format and lost. But sometimes that happens. You back the wrong horse and you lose. But an interesting piece of history nonetheless. What's this? So back in the 70s, well, this is 1980, everything was about handheld electronic games. This is something called Bank Shot, and you could probably guess that this is a billiard game. And I'm assuming, this is from Parker Brothers, by the way, and Parker Brothers made numerous, this thing's stuck. I don't know, I don't think I'm going to try to crunch this thing open. Let me see, there's a switch here. No. But this is probably an LED display, and it's some sort of a pool game that you play using these buttons to move, set angle, aim, shoot, queue up, make sure you take your turn, ball up, I don't know. It does have it's interesting, it does support an external power source, which is kind of cool. And other than that, other than turning it on, select a game, straight pool, so you can play solitaire, 2-pool, poison pool, or trick shots. You aim, set an angle, queue up, and shoot. I don't know if I've ever actually fired this thing up. I'm really curious why the battery case won't open. Maybe we'll take a look at that another time. Ooh. Well, those of you who have been privileged enough to be at a Monroe-Palooza event in the last decade knows that these nasty Super Mario gummies that I got at the dollar store are a main fixture at such events. And for some reason, I just had to keep them for nothing else other than a conversation point. But in all fairness, it does have the official Nintendo seal. So there you go.
Do they sell these anymore?
I don't know, probably. Be curious to open one of these up and taste it. Maybe I'll open it up and have you eat one.
Oh.
You'd be in for that, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely.
So this is an interesting little piece. So this, if I remember correctly, this is a trivia controller that Microsoft put out. Take these batteries out while we're here, since I can. So, so this looks like it was designed for a game show. And I can't remember which one, or if there was more than one. Oops, break this thing.
Careful.
There we go. Anyway, so this is a buzzer. You buzz in and then you pick the answer with the button keys. You can tell there's a lot of the same keys that are on an Xbox controller, like the button and start. These are numbered the same. There's just no actual controller. Infrared, so there's probably a receiver you plugged into the Xbox, and then you would buzz in when you knew the answer, and then you choose the answer. So kind of neat. I don't remember which games, but it's official Microsoft. It's got Microsoft on the back, so it could be official. What's this? Look at this, the NVIDIA Shield tablet. The 8-inch tablet, the K1 series. Although I do not believe, there is a tablet in here, but I do not believe it is the original one. This is definitely a Shield tablet. And it looks in remarkably good condition.
That looks like my old tablet.
But there's nothing at all, there's nothing physically wrong with this thing. I mean, there's nothing, there's no battery bulge, there's nothing.
It's just been used, it looks like.
This is crazy. I don't remember having one that was in this kind of shape. Let's see if it'll power on, just for fun.
Wait, let me see the power button. Yeah, that's not mine. We must have had that in storage for quite a while then.
Wow, this is cool. The K1 was a really great tablet. It actually, this is, oh, you know what? This isn't a K1 because it has a
Stylus.
A Stylus. So this is the original one. This might be one that got recalled, that they deactivated or something. Whole long story behind that one, but that's kind of cool. I didn't realize we still had one of these kicking around.
Oh.
I knew we had a box.
I see a Wii Nunchuk. Maybe we can demonstrate.
Oh, look at this. So not only is this a Wii Nunchuk, it's a wireless.
That's why there's
Wii
no
Nunchuk.
cord slot for it.
And so here are more batteries that shouldn't be in here. So this is, so Nyko, maker of fine products, created a wireless nunchuck because, if you, as you remember, if you had a Wii controller, the nunchuck would plug into the bottom and you'd have like sort of a, they called them nunchucks, right? So Nyko came up with a wireless one, and this is the wireless edition of that. So yeah, so if we were to prove out my theory that this is a This is maybe a little thicker than a regular one. I'd say this is definitely the right thing.
But we could just pretend like
We
it.
can pretend it fits.
Yeah. I wonder what it's for, though. What game?
Oh, almost most games used a nunchuck. There was a lot of games that used a nunchuck.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering there must be a transmitter for this that plugs into the bottom of the Wii controller.
I've never seen a wireless one before.
It probably didn't work very well, which is why it ended up in a storage box. What's this? Look at this. It's a speak and spell. Ah, yes, the 70s were a glorious time. Here, let me see here. I was trying to look for a date. 1978. This was the very first talking electronic toy.
Really?
So you would turn it on, and you would choose a game. There was like mystery word and secret code and say it. So you could choose all these different games, and there were different little modules that you could play. There was like Hangman and other little games built into this. And this took 4C batteries, like so many other things that I have. But it does have a power adapter on the side, and it looks like an earphone jack, which is kind of unusual for a 70s toy. But this is this is a sort of a membrane touch keyboard. This might be fun to turn on and play around with it at some point in time.
You didn't.
Oh.
Oh, it's gonna move again. I win.
But yeah, this is kind of cool. This is a piece of my childhood. This isn't my own childhood one. Again, I probably bought this used, but still, carry it with you. Portable entertainment for the kiddies.
Cats.
Look at this. It's my digital derby.
Wow.
This was one of my great favorite games growing up, and there are no batteries in it, which is probably a good thing. These battery doors are often lost because they pop right off, so the fact that I have a battery door is still very, very cool. And it actually works and it stays on. This is 1978 from Tomy. Tomy made all the greatest digital games in the 70s. You can look and see that there are tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of Tomy games. This one is one of my favorites, and there's a great story behind it. So, as usual, if you've watched some of my other unboxings, you'll know that my grandmother was a great source of providing me with entertainment that my parents couldn't afford. And because she liked to spoil me rotten, well, there you go. So the one thing I wanted for my birthday was a digital derby. This thing was probably 60 bucks at the time, something like that. And my grandmother lived in Wenatchee, and I lived in Idaho, in Carywood, Idaho, a source of many stories. And I asked for this for my birthday. Well, packages coming to the house near or around my birthday were forbidden. You weren't allowed to open any packages because it might contain presents. The same thing around Christmas time, before Amazon. So I ended up being a latchkey kid. My parents were working, so I would come home from school. There'd be nobody at home. I would get the mail, and I would see a box from my grandmother. I opened said box. So sort of the rule was if the box was for you and you opened it when you weren't supposed to, you lost it for a week. So my grandmother sent me a digital derby, and I couldn't open it for a week. That sucks. Yeah, well, break the rules, you pay the penalty.
But I don't want to pay the penalty. I want to go home.
So then after a week of waiting, you can only imagine, I don't remember how old I was, maybe 11. When did this come out?
78.
78, so I would have been 9. What a terrible thing to make a 9-year-old wait for a week for their presents. But you know what? I'm talking about it 41 years later, so it made an impact. So anyway, Digital Derby was sitting there, and I finally got it. I was crushed to open up the battery door and see that it took C batteries. Now, for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, let's run through the list. AAA batteries, AA batteries, C batteries, D-size batteries, and then 9-volt batteries. That was sort of the lineup. Almost everything used AA batteries about that point, including another toy that I see peeking out from in there. We lived in the middle of nowhere. I mean, we lived in Carywood, Idaho. Look it up. It's still in the middle of nowhere. That means unless you happen to have batteries on hand, you aren't going to get to run down to Walmart and pick up a couple of batteries. That's when we're going to town next. Remember, you ever see Little House on the Prairie? They went in once a month to go into town to get supplies. That's kind of how we did it. So not only did I have to wait a week to get said digital derby, but then there were no batteries. None.
You should have checked that when you first opened the box.
Yeah, you see, you'd think I'd be smart. Now, see, here's a note for those of you who are grandparents or becoming grandparents. Not that anything takes batteries anymore. But always do the right thing. Buy the batteries with the gift and send it with the gift. If my grandmother, first world problems, right? My grandmother gave me a $60 toy and then forgot the batteries. How dare her? But had she sent the batteries, there wouldn't have been a problem. Now, I was a bit of a precocious kid growing up. I knew everything. I still do, apparently. And so I said to myself that if C batteries were the same voltage as AA batteries, why couldn't I put AA batteries in here?
Because they don't fit the same way.
Because they don't fit, right? So if you look in here, the C batteries are like these big giant things, and AA batteries are a lot smaller. But I said, wait a minute. What if I took the AA battery and rub tape around it? What if I put tape all over it to make it the same width as a C battery and pop it in here? It's the same voltage. Why wouldn't it work?
Because it's easier just to buy C batteries, so you
But I
have
couldn't buy the
extras.
C batteries. I wanted to play Digital Derby now. I was like Veruca Salt in Willy Wonka. I took my idea to my parents, and my parents told me, you can wait until we get C batteries. And I said, that's not fair. This should work. And they're like, it doesn't matter. You're going to wait. In my infinite wisdom, I took it upon myself to snake a couple of AA batteries from my dad. I wrapped them in tape, and I put them in. Now, the smart move, boys and girls, would have been to hide in my room and not tell them that I got this working. If I'd have kept it a secret, I'd have gotten away with it. But instead, my dumbass had to go running in to show how smart I was to prove to my parents how genius I was that I now had a working digital derby. Anybody want to take a guess as to what happened after that?
I'm guessing another week of no digital derby.
I think it was a month of no digital
no
derby.
digital derby.
So there is a great amount of history in this game, which is another reason why I have it. As I recall, the last time I used it, it did indeed work, and it worked well, which isn't the case for everybody who has one of these things. So this thing is so rudimentary. Zoom in a little bit here if you can. I'll try to keep it at an angle so we get some light. Is it working?
The light is covering the whole... There
How's
you go.
that?
There
That better?
That's better.
All right. So there are two pieces of film, like transparent film, that have little cars painted on them. You control this car here, and it literally is just a wired car straight to the steering wheel. When you put it into one of the gears, these cars start moving, and your job is to stay alive as long as you can, dodging the cars as they come flying down at you. You've got a timer that's counting up, and the further you get, the more lap points you get. So this is your score. So you hold down the start button, the game starts moving, and then you use neutral, first, second, and third to try to maneuver yourself around the cars. It's a remarkably decent game, and there's a YouTuber called Randy Rain. She actually has a video tearing one of these things all the way down and restoring it. So if you'd like to know more, and I'll put a link in the description too, if you'd like to know more about how this thing works, and believe me, you want to know how this works, just because it's 1978, and these guys over at Tomy, they were doing crazy things with gears and motors and pulleys. It's insane, the technology that's in this. It looks very simple, but it's amazingly complex. So Digital Derby.
Digital derby for a month.
Yeah, exactly. What we got here?
Oh,
This is a fun little gizmo. So this, my friends, is what's known as the C64D, as I recall. This is a complete Commodore 64 in a controller. Right? So using 4 buttons at the bottom. I'm going to say there's probably, the batteries in here are probably, oh, dude, look at that. Look at that. That's battery leakage.
You should probably get a
I'm
screwdriver.
going to have to open this up and clean it out. So essentially what this was is it was a pared down sort of an emulated Commodore 64. There's no Pi in here. It's nothing even remotely that complicated. But it has a handful of built-in games. I want to say it was 25 or 50 games in here. They were all like from Epix because they were all under license. But it's still a neat thing. You just plug it into any TV and you've got Commodore 64 games. There's no SD card. There's no way to put more games on it unless you really do some crazy stuff. But anyway, it's still a neat piece of history. And Jerry Ellsworth, who I interviewed for my Retro Gaming Radio show, was one of the engineers that worked on this. So that's kind of a neat deal. Neat little toy. What's this? Well, this is an oddball one. And oh my God, look at this.
What?
I bet there's batteries in there. I got to learn to start taking batteries out of my stuff. So this to me looks like your basic, maybe Bluetooth or wireless controller.
What are the little symbols? Maybe I could get.
Look at that. A, B, Y, and X, right? But see, look at this. Now, wait. A and B are backwards. This has to be a Nintendo controller. It's got a home button, too. So this, my friends, belong to the Wii.
Actually, Y and X are backwards as well.
Right, as normally Nintendo does do, which probably was some sort of copyright thing. But look at this. It's got 2 analog sticks. It's got a fairly decent feeling D-pad. It's got some weird Chinese dragon symbol on it.
So I think it's from China.
You think? Although I'm pretty sure that this was a Wii, like a Wii Classic controller, but I don't recognize the branding. I don't know where it came from.
Every controller's got a copyright claim. What does it say?
It has nothing, which is more
nothing.
Funny. It's got an on-off switch, which of course isn't going to work. Anyway, that'll be something we'll have to. Oh, here we go.
Maybe if it makes a Nintendo sound.
Yeah, it's not too bad on this side, but the other side looks pretty bad. There's some battery leakage over here.
You might as well take the batteries out of the other side.
Ooh. Oh no! See, no, that's just wrong.
Okay, yeah.
That's just. Can you give me another towel or a washcloth? That's really actually that's like child abuse. Well, not child abuse because that's not funny, but this is like electronics abuse.
How could you leave those in the sun?
You know, you don't even think about it. You put them in a box, then the box moves from this room to that room, then that room into the shed, and be careful. This is not battery.
Yeah, we need to wash our hands after this.
Yeah, here's the other batteries here.
Don't want to get battery acid in our eyes or something.
Yeah. Well, better than Corona. All right, so let me slide this back together, and we'll there are plenty of tried and true methods for getting battery acid off of electronics. So
yeah, you wipe it off with water.
No, that's not how you do it. All right. What else do I have in here? I see a very exciting thing in here.
I say grab this.
No. You guys are gonna lose your minds when you see what I have in here. But let's do the rest of the little stuff first. Get your head out of there.
What? The camera can't tell.
Dragon Boy game.
Dragon Boy? Is that what the controller was? Dragon Boy?
So look at this. This is another one of those like 101 game type things. This was another little cheap Chinese knockoff thing. This is called the Dragon Boy.
I'm supposing it's a rip-off of the Game Boy in some sort of way.
Ah, look at this thing. Classic arcade graffiti. Oh, so this was somebody donated this to me. So this is compliments of classic arcade graffiti. And so I see a left and a right and a rotate button. So this looks like Tetris. Look at the pieces on the outside. So what if it does come on. Look at this. 99 in one. So there's 99 games in here apparently. So how do I do this?
Figure it out.
Oh, look at this.
What game are you playing?
It's like a breakout game. There's no sound though.
Oh, it's Pong.
Ooh, high tech.
It's Pong.
Yeah, so it's going up to try to do it's like a breakout thing.
Except it's Pong.
Yeah, this is a bundle of fun. I can tell we're going to have hours of playing with this.
I don't think we will, man.
This has got battery leakage
yeah.
Too.
Oh, that's even worse than the last one. Yeah, they're stuck. They're stuck there.
Oh, this other one's really bad. Oh, I can't even believe the game turned on with this.
I can get it up.
I still want to... Hang on.
You guys don't see the same thing, but there's crusty stuff flying out. Oh, wait.
There we go. I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Oh, it's so bad. Look, it's actually pieces of crust falling out. So you got a little bit of nonsense going on in there.
That's gross.
I can't believe this thing actually even turned on. You had a shutting off party where you go back to all of your old electronics and take the damn batteries out. Huh. Well, I'm glad we opened. Oh, there's some paper in here.
I don't think
this probably tells you everything you needed, or maybe not everything you wanted to know.
Maybe it's a note from whoever sent it to you.
Oh, great! I just ripped it.
Oh well.
What is it taped? Oh no, it's sticking. Ah, crap. Here we go. Ah, here we go. So this is a 9,999 in one. That's a lot of game value. So it looks like Super Tank War, Dronger, Grab Jeweler. Look at that. I'm just gonna hold it up so you guys can see it. Some tight names on there, huh?
You can't really see it that well.
No?
Nah.
What else is on here? Hit Dimwit, Ting Tong, Trog Pass Stream, Small B, the Norm Russian Brick, the Time Russian Brick, the Right Russian Brick, the Inversive Russian Brick, the Rotary and Transmutative Russian Brick. I'm not making this up.
Oh, you're not?
The Time plus Right Russian Brick, the Time plus Rotary and Transmutative Russian Brick.
The Russian
This to purchase this alone was worth it just for the game list, I think. Thank you for the donation for those who have sent this to me.
The Russian brick?
The Russian transmutative brick. That's great stuff.
I've never heard.
I think this is the portable electronics.
Oh yeah,
box.
I've seen more. So, but the camera doesn't see more.
Look at what I've got. It's a Merlin. And this has seen better days too. He needs to be cleaned up as well. I've got a box.
The Great Wizard?
Oh, there's another Merlin in here. I got two Merlins.
Which one's better?
Why do I have two? Well, who cares why I've got two? But here's the Merlin. This is in beautiful shape. That's why I've got. Oh, except for this door's broken.
We could just replace it.
Hang on a second. This is supposed to slide though. Hang on a second. Oh!
You broke it more.
There's like battery rot in here.
Oh, is there supposed to be blue stuff?
No, there's not supposed to be blue stuff. But look at the condition of this otherwise. So that's probably what I did. I have two of them, and I was going to
swap the frame out.
Yeah, see, much better in here. So we'll put this over here, even though I'm going to clean this out later. And then this, so we're going to put this away. Oh, look at this. I got the instruction book too. Nice. Here, let's do this.
So what is the Merlin?
I'm going to tell you all about the Merlin because I have great stories for said Merlin.
Boring.
No. These are great stories. You like the Digital Derby story, right? This one's not much further from that. Once again, tapping the great wealth of money that is my grandmother. In, what year was this? This was...
82?
Oh, hell no. This is
76.
Like 78.
Damn.
Once again, 78. The great year of portable electronics. The Merlin was it. So the Merlin looks a lot like a telephone, but it plays numerous different games. It's got a game of blackjack, tic-tac-toe, music maker. What are some of the other games that are in here? Echo, which was like Simon, blackjack, Magic Square, which was like Lights Out, and a Mind Bender, which was sort of like Mastermind. Remember we played on the Switch. So you're trying to figure out a sequence of numbers. So it's amazing that they could put together so many different types of games using nothing more than these like microwave touchpads. It was really neat, and of course this one takes 6 AA batteries. That's crazy.
6?
6, and this thing chewed through batteries pretty well too. But you know, hit me, computer's turn, play the same game again or play a new game. That was all that there was to this thing, and you can play this for hours. So I saw this. I want to say it was Christmas of. Must have been Christmas of 1978-ish. Right in there. This was all over the television. You could not turn the channel without seeing advertisements from Parker Brothers Merlin. This Merlin was like $79. Absolutely ridiculous. Is the price on the box? This box? Anywhere? No.
79 is a lot of money.
That's $1978, my friends. That's like mucho dinero. So, you don't go to mom and dad for this. This isn't even a Santa thing. This is, suck up to grandma to get you a Merlin. And of course, so Christmas time came, the packages came in the mail. My birthday was in August, so you think I'd figured out with the Digital Derby, we don't go snooping anymore, and I did not. However, Christmas time in my house, the Christmas presents went under the tree very early, weeks sometimes before Christmas itself. Which of course, if you're a 9-year-old boy, you absolutely lose your frickin' mind wanting to know what's under the tree, what's in the box, right? So a box showed up. It was wrapped, so I couldn't see it. Guess what shape it was in?
A box.
No. This box. I could tell with it says to Shane from Grandma. Imagine this with a wrapping around it.
But it just feels like any ordinary box.
It feels like a box. But listen, take a look at every other box in this room. Nothing is shaped like this box. I had been at the toy store. I had handled this box. I knew what the box looked like. I know what it felt like. Guess what? I kind of knew what it would feel like. So I could squeeze it. And this, by the way, was packed in styrofoam. So you could squeeze it and it was rock hard. Rock hard. Right? So, of course, my mother was allowing me to play under the tree and squeeze and shake my presents. That's all part of the fun. I knew for a fact this was a Merlin. That it was a Merlin under the tree. But I had to be sure.
No.
Yes. So I snuck out of my bed one night. I went to the Christmas tree. I took the Merlin and I tore a little tiny piece of the wrapping. Just enough to reveal the letter 6, the number 6 right here. I specifically remember. I tore it back just a little bit. I saw 6. I smoothed it back down, put it back under the tree.
They figured it out, didn't they?
Christmas morning, a big box appears under the tree for my dad. Like a big box. Like this big. Now, my mother used to always share with me what we were getting my dad for Christmas. But that box came out of nowhere. On Christmas Eve, the night of. I went back and I looked under the tree. My Merlin box was safe and secure. I picked up, it was time to hand out the presents. We each opened one at a time. This came to me and I grabbed the box. What the heck is going on? This box should not squeeze. And the look on my face probably belied that I knew what was in the box.
Nothing.
I tore the paper off, like completely mystified. And here's the Merlin box. I'm even more questioning now what is going on. I opened up the top. I probably tore it off. This isn't my box, by the way. I bought my childhood back. I opened up the box. Inside was rolled up a pair of pajamas. Now, I had two ways to handle this. I could feign ignorance, like, thanks for the jammies, Mom. Grandma, thank you. Wherever you are, thanks. Right? Or I could call them out and say, that's not what this felt like yesterday. This is the one time I kept my trap shut and I did not say anything. Then came time for my dad to open his big new mysterious box.
Can I guess what's happened? Your grandma, well, my grandma, sorry, your mom, took the Merlin and put it in the giant box for your father, therefore making you feel guilty for peeking, and he gets the thing you've wanted for months, probably.
Ding, 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 ding. And I must admit, they pulled it off very, very well. Even my dad did the entire whole surprise. I've always wanted one of these, which is lies. Lies. Filthy lies, I tell you. He didn't even know what it was. But anyway, so did I get the Merlin? Of course I did eventually, but I learned a very valuable lesson. Don't get caught.
I just want to say, your face when you discovered there was pajamas, I can just imagine the face
I wish I had it on video. I wish I had it on video. That's all I'm saying.
What was your face like when you discovered that your father got the Merlin?
I don't even want to talk about it. I'm actually slightly traumatized by the whole thing.
I'm sorry, that's funny.
Let's see. Armor attack. Hey, this is another piece of my childhood. This is not the one from my childhood. This actually took a 9-volt battery.
Oh, that's dirty.
It's dirty, but there's no battery leakage in here. So, there's some nasty crap in there. This was from Mattel. Mattel did a lot of handheld games, including the Mattel football, baseball series. This was their shot at doing some sort of a strategic tank battle game, which was actually pretty cool. And I had one of these as a kid. I'm going to tell you a very embarrassing story, but that's what these shows are for. Remember, I was a precocious kid, and I thought I knew everything, which I didn't. I was pretty sure I knew how to build a laser gun. Or like a real laser gun. I even had a diagram for it. The insides of an armor battle were pretty much all I needed to make a laser. True story. Now, I didn't actually own the armor battle. My friend Joey owned the armor battle. So we were on a quest to convince his parents, my parents, and somebody else, I can't remember who, that I knew what I was doing and I could take this apart and make a laser gun out of it. Needless to say, we were told no. Needless to say, we tried it anyway. So we took apart his armor battle and It never got put back together again. But this is a solemn reminder for me to remember I don't know everything. I never knew everything. And it's actually kind of a cool game when it actually fires up and works. So,
also remember that laser guns are fake.
Well, you can make a laser gun. It just doesn't do what they show on TV.
Doesn't burn a hole into someone's abdomen.
Here's something interesting. It's a Super Nintendo cartridge, Wings 2 Aces High. Now, this is even more unusual because I don't own a Super Nintendo. I've never owned a Super Nintendo. Wings 2, the only thing that might be interesting about that is I liked the original Wings on the Amiga. So I have no idea why I have this cartridge.
I thought Mom owned a SNES.
No, she owned an NES, not an SNES.
Oh.
So it's a huge puzzle why I have this cartridge. Who knew?
Maybe someone gave it to you as a gift and they didn't realize.
Slimline Speedway. Tommytronic, another Tommy game, made in Japan. No date on it, but this looks pretty cool. I don't even remember this. I literally do not remember ever buying this or owning it. But I see a brake, an accelerator, a select switch, a brake or an on-off switch, and then it looks like a D-pad. What are the chances this thing will turn on?
0 to none.
And none is correct. That's too bad. So what kind of batteries does this thing take? So this looks like it takes
the circular
little
batteries?
circular ones, which I probably have some. Needs a screwdriver to get them out, and fortunately, it doesn't look like there's any battery leakage. Now I'm dying to try this. I've never played this. Slimline Speedway. So much like the other videos that you've probably already seen for this segment, I will be putting some cards and stuff up behind my talking and stuff to show you guys what this is. Maybe show you a video of how it works. And maybe some of the stuff we're just going to take it and put it back together and put batteries in it. We're going to do some video of that too. This is really cool. I don't remember this at all.
Lots of portable games from the 70s.
I know. This is logical grouping, of course.
Ooh.
Wildfire Pinball. This was one of the most desired toys. This was 1978 too, wasn't it?
Oh no.
Hang on. 1979. So a year later, you know what? I got this at Christmas in 78. This came in 1979. Now I know what you're saying.
Did you learn from your mistake?
This says, this is all like in Francais. It's English up here. The one I had was actually all English. This is, of course, not my original. My original, God only knows what happened to that. Wildfire Pinball was state-of-the-art actual pinball, but you can tell by looking at it that it's all using LED lights. And you're probably trying to figure out how good of a pinball game you could really get away with by doing LED lights. This actually is an amazing piece of hardware.
Wait, so there's no ball? It's
There's
just
no ball.
LED?
Here, there's no ball. We're going to open this guy up. He's still in good shape. I bought him, again, it's the French version, which nobody wanted. Actually, this one, all the text is in English. I seem to remember having one of these that had some text in Francais, too. So, essentially, there's a bunch of LEDs you can't see that are ball-shaped, and there's a couple of flippers, and the ball would bounce around, and you had flippers right here. This is in really good shape. I'm really shocked. I hope the batteries aren't in this.
Uh-oh.
1979. But anyway, so this one, no external... Oh, there is external power. So you can plug a power adapter into this thing, too, which is kind of cool. So if the battery case is destroyed, then I've got another way to play. This was some serious state-of-the-art stuff. I'm going to try turning it on just for fun.
Nope.
Nope. Denied. So we'll look at this one again, too. This is heavy enough that I think there's batteries in it. So I'm going to open this battery case up.
6.
Oh, hey, it looks 6 AA's. Man, how did they expect kids to afford to keep these things going?
Let alone buy
Not
them.
wrong.
Buy them and then pay for all the batteries.
There we go. I'm going to go ahead and take these out since I know they're dead. Man, everything takes like 900 batteries. All right, very clean. There's a little tiny bit of nonsense going on down there, but otherwise, and this little bit up here, but otherwise in very good shape. So Wildfire Pinball, like so many other toys of my youth, has a great story behind it. So when I was growing up, we were very poor. When I was, so that would have been, what was it, 79? I would have been 10. So we lived in Cary, Idaho. Wildfire Pinball. This was, I believe, $50. Maybe it was $60. So we had a tradition in my house. Christmas time came at the end of December, and my dad got a Christmas bonus, usually at the end of December or at the 1st of January, sort of a New Year's Christmas bonus. So he didn't have that bonus by the time it was Christmas time. So a lot of times what happened was we got a lot of little things, little clothes, little toys, things like that around at Christmas time itself. But then my dad would get that big bonus check, and come the 2nd of January, the 3rd of January, whenever the first day of the holidays were over, we would go into town, which was Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. We would go into town, and I could pick out one big toy. And usually it could be something of the $50, $60 range. So that was my big toy. I mean, even Santa brought little tiny stuff. It was my parents that got me the big toy after the holidays were over, and he got that big check. So there was this was pretty cool. Well, first off, it's Christmas is over. Everything is on closeout. They're trying to get rid of all the excess inventory, right? So you could get some good deals when Christmas was over. Now, in Coeur d'Alene, there was a giant warehouse that all of the retailers around Coeur d'Alene would pool all of their stuff, almost like a flea market. So the toy store would have an excess amount of toys. The sporting goods store would be excess of their stuff. They would all come to this big, huge warehouse, and everybody would set up basically a booth, really, like a flea market. And these companies, these retailers would sell you at a bargain price all their excess inventory. Well, it was at one of these such events, at one of these such tables, that I was able to get my hands on a Wildfire Pinball. Now, my parents had a sense of humor, as you already know. So I was told I could get one big thing, and this was the big thing I wanted. And I came running up to my parents. I probably gave them this look like, please. Right? And they said, $60? You've lost your mind. You go put that back and get something cheaper. Crushed, feeling like you've just been slapped upside the head. So the look on my face must have rivaled when I opened up the Merlin and found the jammies in it. It has to have been. So I'm like, okay. I was a good boy, but okay. So I think I was crying at that point. Listen, I'm 10, and I just got told I cannot have a Wildfire Pinball. So I go and I put it back. I think, if I remember right, the guy at the table or at the booth that I took this back to, he was, I think he was sympathetic. So anyway, so I took it back, I dropped it off, and I went and got some piece of crap. I don't even remember what it was, but it was like $20. I thought, okay, I guess I can settle for this. It's not Wildfire. So I get in line. My parents are like, well, go get in line. So I go up to get in line. My dad's already holding our place line, because you can imagine this was like Costco on a busy day. I mean, the line's backed all the way up. So I go get in line, and my dad's got something. He's kind of like holding it behind his back a little bit. And I've got this whatever crappy Slimline Speedway toy, but I really wanted a Wildfire. And I'm like, hey, Dad, what do you got? He said, well, I got my big present this year. Well, what is it? Nothing. That's a Wildfire, Dad. He's like, well, yeah, I've always wanted one of these. I'm like, you have? And he said, certainly. He actually said that word. I don't remember anything from 10 years old, but I do remember for a fact that he said the word certainly. And I said, but you want a handheld pinball electronic game? Certainly. And I'm like, are you messing with me? So finally we had the conversation, and it turns out that I made the right choice, kids. So for any of the kids that are watching, I made the right choice. I didn't give them a bad time. I didn't throw a fit. I didn't say I want it now. I took it back. I was crushed. I took it back. But I don't know if they were just messing with me all along, or they saw that I did the mature thing and they went back and got it. I'll have to ask my mother this story sometime.
Did you get the crappy thing too with it?
I got the crappy thing along with it. So not only did I get my Wildfire Pinball machine, I also got the crappy Slimline Speedway.
$80 worth of stuff.
It was pretty good. I mean, it was pretty neat. And this thing, dudes, I put hours and hours. And this was like the greatest purchase ever. From the dollar to hour ratio, I mean, it was 50 cents an hour, but I think I ended up costing for this thing. Amazing. All right, there's something huge in here, but we're going to save this to the very end because it's worthy of saving to the very end. Remember I told you I collect little green robots? So this guy lost his antenna. You know, these things are pretty fragile. It's been in this box. I'm not shocked. Here's another one of those. And for some reason, the green robot came in various colors. They made yellows and blues. I got a white one because...
Red.
Why not? Red. So...
Androids.
Androids. What is this? Oh, this is interesting. What is this? This is a calculator shaped in the form of a controller.
That's kind of cool.
So it's just a calculator. Nothing nothing exciting. But look at this. The plus, minus, division, and multiplication, and equal signs are all the... This is actually pretty cool. No wonder I grabbed this thing. This was a Goodwill pickup. Uses... this battery area is bulging, too. I bet this battery's leaking, too. But how cool is that? I mean, it was like $2. I think you got it on a 50% off day. So, interesting little knickknack. This, my friends, is money. Now, just so you know, normally speaking, the Battlestar Galactica, this was a highly desired item, and it's still a highly desired item. This is one of the most simplex video games of all time, and yet it is remarkably popular. This thing still goes for $50, $60 easy on eBay, maybe more at this point. And I'm pretty sure, I still got the battery covered too. This is one of those weird ones that sort of popped off. It's a 9-volt, which is great, and there's no battery in it. I like how if the game malfunctions, try a fresh battery. It's like they have to spell this stuff out. I don't want to ruin this battery cover. I wonder if Randy Rain's got one of these. I bet she does. I didn't see any on her channel. I've been watching a lot of her stuff lately because she takes apart all the toys that I love. Okay, so I snapped that back on. So this is based on the 1978 television show Battlestar Galactica. Essentially, you turn it on, and you choose one of 3 lanes, and you've got a fire button. The Cylons are going to start dropping down here. You have to change over to that lane and fire. You shoot a little torpedo up, and it blows them up, and then you have to stop it before it gets down here and blows you up. Actually, it's a remarkably decent game. The same company, Mattel Electronics, also made... there's another one that's based on a racing game. There's 2 or 3 others of this type of game based on the exact same principle, but using slightly different graphics and different IPs. This was one of those things that as a kid I never was able to afford. I could never own. So once I became older and had disposable income, I picked one of these from a swap meet at I think a Classic Gaming Expo, and I paid $50 for it. And I smiled when I did it because these things don't become available, certainly not without the battery cover and all the graphics intact. Because a lot of times, you know, you'd be sitting here with your thumb over the graphics and it'd start wearing a hole in there. This thing is starting to peel just a little bit, so I'll probably have to put that in a container of some sort. But also, the scoreboard, the instruction card on the back is also in perfect shape.
A little blurry.
Was it blurry?
Yeah, hold on, let me try.
It's probably from the light in here. Get better lighting for this stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is a highly coveted item. I'm glad I've got one. I also have another one in plastic stored in a place that's not inside of a bin in the shed. So I have 2 of these now, actually. And they're both in excellent shape. I believe I paid a pretty penny for both of them, too. Very good stuff. Got some other random crap in here. Hey, look at this. Here's another one of those weird LCD games. This one's soccer from a company called Gaiken. It's missing a couple of buttons here. This is the answer to Nintendo's Game & Watch. It's kind of cool, though. This is soccer, made in Japan. Surely it doesn't work. Is there a switch on here? Let's see if there's a battery. No batteries, but they use pen batteries like everything else.
Is there a little stand on the back?
And there's a little stand on the back. So this, actually, a lot of these Game & Watches doubled as a clock. So when you weren't playing them, they had like a clock display on them, so you could leave them on your desk, and they would do the purpose of them being a desk clock, and then when you were bored at lunchtime, pick it up and throw down. Yeah, I don't remember actually throwing anything down on this one. Made in Japan. Let's see if let's read the instructions, because sometimes these are fun. With this soccer game, you can enjoy soccer games as if you were on the soccer field. How many times do we say soccer in that sentence? Either as an offense or defense team, your team, green, competes against the computer team, black. Your opponents in black uniforms are played automatically by the computer. Your team members in green uniform are manipulated by you. Sounds fun. Move your team players to perform dribbling, passing, and finally shooting in good timing. Gotta get better translators. Try how many points you can get. before the opponent team gets 3 points. I gotta get some batteries in here.
Try to get as many points as you can.
That's good stuff. Yeah, I don't remember this at all. This must have been, I must have picked this up at a garage sale or something, but you know.
Goodwill.
Goodwill. No sticker on it though.
Could have got it.
Oh, look at this. It's a mystery cartridge.
Miss?
This is an Atari 2600 cartridge, for those of you who know what you're looking for in there. And the label is gone. It's from Mattel. And Mattel were the ones that made these weird-shaped cartridges. I am guessing this could be... we might find a sticker in there, so we'll leave this till the end. But Mattel, you never know. Speaking of Atari cartridges, here's the most common cartridge known to man. And it serves no other function other than to be the most common cartridge known to man. This is Atari Asteroids. This was a pack-in for a long time, so almost every Atari had this game. This is literally... I think you'd actually have to pay somebody at a swap shop to take this from you.
What I find funny is how the graphics look better than the actual game.
See, that was the whole thing. If you look at Atari 2600 box art, it is the bomb. And they had to be the bomb because the graphics were not. But this is actually in pretty good shape considering there's a little peeling up on the thing there. But for a very common cartridge that probably saw a lot of time in and out of the console, it's actually in pretty good shape.
And 3D glasses.
Real 3D glasses. Now, you're probably saying, Shane, what do you got a pair of 3D glasses in here for? And I'm going to tell you. These, my friends, were swiped directly out of a Terminator 4D ride at Universal Studios. So there's some larceny going on here, but I think more than the fair share of people swiped these. But yeah, do not use for sunglasses. It's funny how they got to spell this crap out for people.
Good memories, though, right?
Good memories. Terminator 4D, of course, is now gone, but it was really the spiritual successor to Terminator 2. It was really a continued story. It even had Ed Furlong in it. I don't remember if Linda Hamilton was in there or not, but Arnie, of course, was reprising his role. I would be back. So, cool. So there's a story behind everything. Ah, yes. Classic Gaming Expo. So Classic Gaming Expo was an event that happened in Las Vegas every year for many years running. This is 2007. I have one for 2005. Oh, it's got Brian's name on it. Oh.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me.
It is kind of you.
Well, it is.
2K5, 2K4, 2K3,
I thought
2K1. Look at this. I've got literally all of them. So from 2001, 2002.
Where's 2006?
2003, 2004, 2005, 2007. Oh, so I missed 6. That's interesting. Must have been something weird about 2006. But I would like to point out that I have Brian's.
Do people know about who Brian is?
A lot of people who watch my show and stuff know who Brian Smith is. Brian, also known as Kid Hype, that was his DJ rap name, so to speak. Brian Smith was a very close friend of mine. He died in 1994 from complications of diabetes. And he was the driving force of restoring retro gaming radio when I had kind of given up on it. He said, let me produce for you. Let me produce your show, and I will bring back the magic. I will make you love retro gaming radio again. And Brian Smith was a very, very dear friend of mine. So kind of glad I've got this. Anyway, so much, in fact, that I named my son after him.
Yeah. He is never forgetting.
And you can tell because it's the very unusual spelling of Brian, B-R-Y-A-N.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't see very many people with a Y.
You do not.
Everyone's just like, okay, B-R-I-N. I'm like, actually, it's with a Y. And they're like, oh.
All right, my friends, because this is so worthy.
Oh, we have to move everything aside?
Everything has to be moved aside, or I'm going to have to...
It doesn't look like much in there, but I could be mistaken.
That's because you do not understand, my friend, the importance of what I'm about to show you.
Sorry
why
about
it is so great. We're just going to move these to the side so I have enough room.
Camera angle swing a little bit, but that's okay because you're wrapping.
In the 80s, the great Orson Welles himself took to the television to introduce us to the next generation of fantasy role-playing games. This was to take Dungeons & Dragons off the printed page and move into something extraordinary. Something that would bring Dungeons & Dragons into the digital computer age. Of course, by now, most of my fans are going, oh, Shane, I know what it is. And yes, you do know what it is. It is the great, much coveted, worth probably hundreds and hundreds of dollars still to this day, the great...
Last night I journeyed backwards in time to the medieval world of Dark Tower. In this amazing game, I had to find 3 keys, lay siege to the tower, and defeat the enemy within. Each move was a challenge. The computer kept track, giving me secret information, pictures, sounds, surprises. Then, ahead of my opponent, I made my move. The battle was joined, and I was victorious. Dark Tower.
And mighty Dark Tower. Yes, my friends, this is a actual living, breathing, working Dark Tower. Let me explain to you how this thing works.
Might as well get a nice angle on it if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's get something nice and tight in here. How are we doing? Is that good?
We'll move it a little bit that way. And then...
So this is the central unit of Dark Tower. It's very sophisticated, especially for its time. It has a bunch of touch buttons, and it has a beautiful graphic display that you can't really see here. And we may fire this up at another time. We're not going to be able to do it unless we're still... I think there might still be batteries in here, which is not a good thing at all. That's
really not good. If it's
not a good thing at all to have batteries in here. But anyway, so up here, there are 3 rollers. Each roller has 3 or 4 different little graphic images on it. Behind each one is a light bulb. So it actually lights up. This becomes a brilliant color display, which was absolutely unheard of at the time frame. And when you turn it on, it'll go through a self-diagnostic process. This requires, if I remember right, 4D batteries to pull this off, which was extraordinarily many... Oh, 2. There are batteries in here.
2.
Of course, they are obviously dead as a doorknob.
Obviously. Do you need me to get them out?
No. These are heavy-duty power cells.
There we go.
One.
Want me to trash them?
Yeah, I'll have you trash them. There you go. So only 2 batteries. There's no damage in this case, which is absolutely fantastic. So it looks great. It's in great shape. Has the battery door. Again, something that seems to get lost over the ages. Now, the other components that tend to fail on this are the 3 light bulbs that are back behind. And, of course, the rolling mechanism itself. So using these buttons, you could actually have a full-blown adventure. How does that work? Let's take a look. The key to how this works is by starting off with this big giant map.
Oh, that's why you didn't want me touching it.
So this is the play field to Dark Tower.
That's a pretty big playing field.
The tower itself has little I thought it had little notches, but maybe not. It sits in the middle, and it's designed to be turned based on whose turn it is. So this is a 4-player game, so 4 players can play it. I don't know why that's... Oh, you know what? There might be a piece that I'm missing here that this thing actually sits on. I'll have to go take a look. But essentially, you would start your piece at the starting point, and you would take and you'd click move, and you get to move 1 space when it was your turn. Now, sometimes there'd be a random encounter. Sometimes nothing would happen. You'd hit move. So it would be your turn. You'd hit move, beep, and then something would happen or something wouldn't happen. If nothing happened, it just said it did nothing. And you're like, because nothing good can come out of something happening. And then you would say, I believe, end turn, end, boop, and then you'd turn it to the next person. And the next person would try to hit move, and then he got to move 1 square. And along here are other interesting points of interest. Everybody has their own bazaar, which is a shop. You also have your own ruins, which was like a dungeon. You had a sanctuary where you were guaranteed nothing could get you on that turn. And you had a tomb, which was pretty much guaranteed you were going to get your butt kicked, if I remember right. So the idea was to make your way up to the Dark Tower. So you'd have to move a certain amount of moves to get to the Dark Tower, and then you had to try to infiltrate it. Well, you also, along the way, you could buy soldiers. I mean, this was crazy. You could buy soldiers, and these are the companion pieces to it. I do not have a full set, but I've got a lot. So these are, for each character, they each had their own, this would click into place, what is this? This is
How many notches?
It's got 3. So maybe it's the ruins.
Tomb.
Tomb?
Tomb or ruin.
Yes, the tomb.
Or sanctuary.
There we go. So the tomb would have a piece. So this board, you get this whole thing set up, and it was all kind of 3D. And this is another 3, so this is probably the bazaar, which was basically where you could shop. And then looks like we have another 3, maybe the ruin. Oh, this looks like the tomb. Yeah, this looks like the tomb, so maybe this fits over here. It's been a long time since I've dug this out, folks.
There's also a notch at the beginning, too, so who knows?
I think I could be wrong on this one. There we go. And then I am missing the sanctuary. And you can see I have some of the various pieces in here. But I'm missing quite a few, actually. So this is another... This, I believe, was the sanctuary piece. It's not the right color. This is somebody else's sanctuary, but you get the idea. Then you had other little creatures involved, like a dragon could attack you. So if a dragon attacked you, you would put that dragon on your spot, and then you would have to do battle with the dragon. There was a whole bunch of things. Before you could attack the Dark Tower, you had to acquire keys. And here are the keys. So as you played, this tower would tell you everything. It would tell you if you moved, you found a key. If you moved, you have to fight a dragon. If you move, you have to do this. If you move into the bazaar, you push the bazaar button and you have the opportunity to make purchases. Everybody gets a little scorecard. There's another bag of stuff. Everybody gets a Dark Tower scorecard in which you keep track of everything. How much gold you have, how much food you have, how many warriors you have. Whether you own a scout or a beast, or you have an extra sword, healing potions, this was a crazy amount of detail for like a 1979 game. For example, when you got a key, you would click it in here, and you would use these little red battleship pieces to keep track of how many you had of each item. And the computer inside knew how much you had of each, but you were supposed to keep track of it yourself. So for example, if you started off with 5 warriors, right? And let's say you lost 3 in a battle. You'd have to bring your little thing down to 2. The computer knew how many you had, but this is for you to keep track of on your own. So it was really a complex sort of game. And you earn these cards, right? So you can get a Pegasus that lets you fly straight to Sanctuary, if I remember right. So there's Pegasus cards, there's Scout cards, there's a multitude. Let me see what else is in here. Digital players, little characters. Right, so I've got a reasonable amount of these pieces. I do not have a full set, which of course is what really makes the sets valuable. But even this alone, I've seen go for over $100 just for the tower, and the pieces go for ridiculous amounts of money because people are trying to complete the collection. And of course, obviously, I have no box, so you need the box, you need all the original packaging, you need all the pieces, you need a fully working tower. But I've got a good portion of it. I've got enough to play the game with a couple of people, which is cool. And one of the other things that most people do not have is the instruction booklet. And this is how complicated this game really was. So this manual, it had a whole manual to play this game. It was very complicated in terms of how to use the tower, how to put all... See, I knew there was a little piece that I'm missing down there. It's a little rotational piece that you put the tower on top of. Right? It tells you how to put everything together, put all the little things together, and then at some point you'll have a fully put together board. And it even shows you what a turn consists of for each round. A lot of people play super complex board games these days. There's a whole subset of people that play super complex board games. In fact, my daughter's boyfriend actually makes complex board games that are similar to this that don't have an electronic component. But these are very popular. These are what the graphics look like in these little windows, right? These are full color, and they are on here too, but they're backlit. They look amazingly cool. I wish I had some batteries I'd put in here and I could show you. All of these graphics are all shown inside the window of the game. It's an amazing game. And listen, this was so coveted. Even back when it came out, it was very expensive. Only like the richest families seemed to be able to afford this thing. It wasn't until much, much later that I was able to acquire even what I've got here. So this is probably the biggest gold mine out of the entire collection. Obviously, there's not as many stories like, say, the Merlin or the Wildfire, of course. But this represents one of those things in your childhood you never could get, you could never acquire. Nobody could afford to buy it for you. This exceeded grandma gift, right? So I asked my grandma for a lot of stuff, and she provided. But this was even more extravagant for her to provide.
How much would you say on average it was?
I think it was $89 at the time, and that's 1979 money.
It's not the most expensive, but pretty
That's a lot of bank. For $19.79, that's a lot of money for essentially a tabletop game for the kids. But this is, like I said, adults covet this. There are people who didn't even grow up in the time frame, but have heard of Dark Tower, that want a Dark Tower. So much, in fact, there's a Kickstarter going on to make a new modernized version of Dark Tower. The game will stay the same, but there'll be a much more powerful tower with a better display, and it'll be sort of brought up to the 2020s. But this is it. This is really, this, we might not be able to find anything else in any of these boxes that sort of equate to the staying power of this. This has been a coveted item for a very long time, and it continues to be a coveted item. And I'm really pleased to be able to have one, and I'm super pleased to be able to share it with all of you. So that's it. As you can see, this was this was my childhood electronics box with a few extra goodies thrown in for good measure, and of course a Super Nintendo cartridge. I have no clue why it was there, and the glasses we stole from Terminator 4D. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this dig. I had a really good time telling you guys all the stories and talking about these great things. And as usual, please subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a lot. Subscribe, and of course hit the little bell. Get the notifications sent to you when we post another one of these videos. I'm Shane R. Monroe with Monroe World. Thanks so much for watching.